Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Arvin Liliana from class 335825 with is ID 33220021. So today I will present about communicative design as a midterm project. So what is communicative test design? According to Hines, 1972, introduced the concept of communicative competence, which highlights not only grammatical accuracy but also the ability to use language appropriately in various social contexts. Communicate, Communicative testing builds on this by focusing how effectively learners can use language in meaningful interaction. The main goal of this type of test is to assess practical communication skills rather than simply evaluating knowledge of grammar or vocabulary in isolation. In communicative testing, the focus is on meaningful interaction and real-life situations. The aim is to evaluate whether learners can communicate effectively outside the classroom, such as in daily life or workplace settings. So this is the key aspect of communicative text design. The first is interaction. The test often involves two-way communication, such as dialogue or conversation, so we can observe how learners respond to or ask questions in various situations. The second is functional language. The assessment is not only about forming correct sentence, but about using language functionally and appropriately within a given context. Okay. Next is importance of communicative testing. Reflect, the first is reflect real world use. Communicative testing allows us to see how well students can use language in situations they might actually encounter in daily life. This is different from traditional tests, which often focus only on grammar or sentence structure without considering real life context. The second is measure practical skill. Communicative tests emphasize relevant skills such as speaking, listening, writing, and reading within meaningful contexts. This helps assess whether students can truly communicate in the target language rather than just understanding the theory or rules. The third is promote functional language proficiency. Um, by using a communicative approach, students are motivated to learn language through effective communication. They are encouraged to learn how to express opinion, understanding conversation, or write message correctly because they know the skill will be assessed in relevant contexts. Okay. The next is principle. The first principle is authenticity. The task and material used in the test should reflect real-world situations that learner may encounter. This ensures that the language being assessed is functional and meaningful. For example, tests might involve ordering food at restaurant or maybe engaging in a job interview, which mimic authentic language use. The second is contextualization. The test items should be set within contexts that are relevant to the learner life or future communication needs. This could involve scenario related to daily life, academy setting, or professional environment. Contextualization helps ensure that the language used in the test is practical and not just theoretical. The third is interaction. Communicative tests should involve interaction between the test taker and another person. This may involve tasks like conversation, role play, or group discussion. Interaction is crucial for assessing the ability to communicate, including listening, speaking, and understanding the nuance of communication. The last principle is performance-based assessment. Rather than assessing theoretical knowledge or isolated grammatical structure, communicative task design, communicative tasks measure the ability to perform language tasks in real-life situations. This principle emphasizes the learner ability to use language effectively to achieve specific communication goals, such as making requests, providing explanation, or negotiating meaning. Okay, next is types of communicative test tasks. Okay, the first is role play. Role, role play involves simulating real-world situation where the test taker must perform a specific role, such as a customer at a restaurant, a tourist asking for direction, or maybe patient in a doctor office. The purpose is to assess how well a learner can use language in practical, real-life interaction. It focuses on conversation skill, functional language use, and adapt- adaptability in various situations. The second is interview. An interview task involves a structured conversation between the test taker and the examiner, where the test taker answers questions on a variety of topics. The purpose is to assess the learner's ability to engage in formal, one-on-one communication and respond appropriately to questions. It also tests listening comprehension, fluency, and coherence in speaking. Next is simulation. Simulation involves recreating real-world situations that are more complex and requiring learners to solve a problem or achieve a goal using communication. The purpose is to test learner ability to navigate complicated tasks that require cooperative communication or decision making, often involving a group. The last type is information gap task requires two or more the taker to exchange information in order to complete a task. Each participant holds some information that the other do not, and they must ask questions and share knowledge to fill in the gaps. So the purpose of this is to enhance the learner ability to ask for and give information, clarify meaning, and work cooperatively. It is speaking, listening, and negotiation skills. So designing communicative test tasks. The first is define the purpose. Before designing tasks, it's important to determine what communicative skill you want to assess. For example, is the test focused on speaking, listening, or the ability to interact effectively in conversation? The second is choose relevant context. The task should reflect real-life contexts that are meaningful and relevant to the student. This means selecting situations or scenarios that they are likely to encounter in daily life, such as ordering food, seeing doctor, or booking a hotel. The third is create realistic tasks. Uh, the tasks given should be realistic and encourage students to use the language practically, not just memorize or repeat sentence structure. The last is determine assessment criteria. It's important to set clear criteria for evaluating student performance in completing the task. For example, will the test focus on fluency, accuracy, or appropriateness in communication? Okay. The next is scoring communicative tests. When designing communicative tests, the scoring process is crucial to evaluate the learner's performance. There are two primary ways to score communicative tests. The first way is holistic scoring. Um, in holistic scoring, the overall performance is rated based on how well the learner communicate in the task. It doesn't focus on specific elements like grammar or vocabulary, but looks at the general effectiveness of the communication. Okay. And the second is analytic scoring. In analytic scoring, the learner performance is broken down into specific criteria or components. Each component, such as fluency, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, is scored separately. This provides a more detailed understanding of where the learner's strength and weakness lie. Next is challenge in communicative task design. The first is research limitation. Creating effective and realistic communicative tasks often requires more research, such as time, materials, and personnel for assessment. Tasks that involve interaction or real-life situation or real-life simulation may also need extra preparation and equipment. So the challenge of the first is limited research can hinder the creation of tests that meet high standards in terms of material quality and accurate assessment. The second is subjectivity in scoring. Communicative tests often involve assessing speaking and interaction skills, which can be highly subjective depending on the evaluator. This can lead to inconsistencies in scoring, especially if the scoring is unclear or not consistently applied. The challenge is subjectivity in scoring can lead to differing interpretation affecting the reliability and validity of the test. Third is limitation in creating real-life situations. Although communicative tests aim to simulate real-life situations, it is difficult to fully recreate real context in a classroom or testing environment. Some situations that are authentic and unpredictable can be replicated in testing. This can reduce the authenticity of the test and make it harder to assess student actual language skill in real-world scenarios. Now, the fourth is balancing practically and authenticity. Designing a test that is both authentic and practical for implementation and scoring is a major challenge. Tests that are fully authentic may require too many results or time, while more practical tests might fail to reflect real-world language use. Test design must find a balance between practicality and authenticity to ensure the test is effective yet feasible to carry out effectively. The last challenge is accommodating different levels of proficiency. Learners have very varying proficiency levels, and creating a test that accommodates all these levels can be challenging. Designer must ensure that the test can assess both high performing and lower performing students without providing unfair advantage to one group. It is important to design that to design tests that vary in difficulty or to accurately differentiate student ability. So this is for the part one. Thank you. So this is the part two, language assessment using C test. So before I start the test, please let me explain about the scoring. The scoring will take by per word. Okay, the student can get 2 points if they can answer correctly, reconstruct the missing part of the word, maintaining the spelling and structure. For example, help for her, for he. Okay, yeah, the student can get 2 points if they can answer correctly without missing one letter. Okay, but if the student um answer correct, but they're missing one letter in a word, they will get 1 point. 1 point for student make a partial reconstruction with an acceptable but incomplete answer. For example, word helps. They only answer help. Okay? You will get 1 point if you only answer help instead of helps. Okay? Without S. But if the student answer um what is that? But if incorrect or maybe irrelevant answer, you will get 0 points. For example, health instead of health. Okay, there are 45 missing parts in this text. So if you can answer a whole of missing part in the text, you will qualify as the advanced proficiency. If you can answer maybe around 33 until 45, you will qualify as advanced proficiency. The student in this level make very few or mistakes in in completing tasks. The students at this level are highly skilled in recognize word patterns and understanding overall context. But if you only answer 30 or until maybe 37, yeah, 37, yeah, you will qualify as the intermediate proficiency. The student in this level has a solid understanding of language structure and can reconstruct most words correctly. Also, there might be occasional mistake or slight inaccuracies in spelling. They can generally dedicate the correct word based on the context, so some error might occur. Students at this level have a solid grasp of language, but may need improvement in recognizing word pattern or handling more complex words. Basic proficiency level for you who can answer around 25. No. 23. 23 until maybe um like 35, 26, 28. Oh, 29. If you answer uh, 20, 23 until 29 words, you will qualify as a basic proficiency. In this level, students at this level have a foundational understanding with additional practice in word recognition and spelling. They may struggle with longer or less familiar words. And the last is low proficiency. If you can answer one, if you only answer one, or maybe how many? 20, 22? No, 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 no. 22. Yeah. If you below 20, you can answer below is 22 words. You will qualify as a low proficiency level. In this level, the student is struggles significantly with reconstructing the missing part of words. They may have difficulty understanding the context and often provide incorrect or irrelevant answers. Students at this level require more focus support to improve their understanding of word structure, spelling, and context. They may need more practice to improve their vocabulary and word reconstruction skills. Okay, so this is the full text of the CPAS. This is the CPAS text. There are 45 missing words. There are 45 missing words. So next, the reason I choose this text because I think this text is talking about social media, and I think social media is familiar with students, which make it easier for them to connect with the content and stay motivated. The text also covers common vocabulary and structure that are appropriate for intermediate learners, such as basic verb, nouns, and conjunction, while also introducing slightly more complex terms like self, self-esteem and downside. Okay. So this is the second text. The second text is talking about education in Indonesia, and this is the key text. Same with the with the first text, there are 45 missing words. So the reason I choose this text because I think, what I said, because I think education allows students to connect to the context and understand the vocabulary more easily, while also providing a range of words and structure that require them to fill in the blanks in the text. The language in the passage includes a mix of familiar everyday terms and slightly more complex vocabulary. This makes align well with the intermediate level, as students are typically familiar with basic vocabulary but can still be challenged by more advanced words and sentence structure. Okay, next is the advantage of using test. The first is focus on word recognition and structure. This test specifically targets a student's ability to recognize and complete words based on their knowledge of word structure and context. This provides a deeper measure of student vocabulary and grammar understanding, particularly their ability to predict a form word correctly based on partial information. Unlike traditional fill-in blank exercise, unlike traditional fill-in blank exercise, which may rely heavily on prior knowledge of specific content, the test focuses on language skills and general patterns. The second is contextual use, contextual true use. Since the second half of every second word is delayed, deleted, students are required to use context and their knowledge of word forms to reconstruct the missing part of the word. This aspect encourages the development of contextual reading skills, which are essential for real-world language use, where learners often need to, to infer meaning based on surrounding information. Third is efficient and time saving. The test is relatively quick to administer compared to other forms of testing like essay or maybe oral exam. It provides a clear snapshot of a student proficiency in vocabulary, syntax, and spelling in a short amount of time. This makes it easier to evaluate a large group of students and compare their ability quickly, which is which is ideal in classroom with many students. The fourth is minimize guesswork. Unlike multiple choice or true or false question, which may sometimes allow a student to guess the answer correctly, the C test requires active reconstruction of language, making it harder for students to rely purely on guesswork. This makes it a more reliable measure of language ability as students cannot simply choose an answer based on intuition or familiarity with the question format. So next is effective for intermediate to advanced learners. While basic learner might struggle with the C test, it is particularly effective for intermediate to advanced learners. This is because it provides a good challenge the task, not just vocabulary, but also the ability to understand and manipulate word forms. For this level, the C test provides a more nuanced assessment of their proficiency compared to simpler surface level tests like grammar multiple choice quizzes. The last advantageous is objective and reliable. He tests over a high degree of objective compared to some assessment methods, such as oral exam or essay, where grading can be more subjective. Since students, since students are expected to fill in specific parts of where there is a clear, consistent answer that can be checked, reducing the chance of biased assessment. So this is for this is all for my presentation. Thank you for the attention.